The whole employment thing that we were just talking about. Did he ever give us good news, by the way? I don't remember. I was asking about a lot of stuff, and it didn't seem too promising. But this May, Molly Wendell, hey, listen, welcome back. I hope that people wrote down the advice that you gave them the last time you were on, torn from the flaming pages of the new job search. This is the newest book, isn't it?
It is the newest book. It's the only book. It's the newest book about the job search.
The new job search is the search that you may be going through right now, looking for a new job because you lost the old one. These are tough times for an awful lot of people. Do the rules still apply now?
Well, here's what's different about the job search today, and what most people don't know is that 80% of the jobs are never actually advertised. And so when you see that you don't know where to go to find those jobs, this book talks about how to go find those opportunities in the 80% world so that you can get a job, and not only find out what those opportunities are, but break the rules, get connected, find the job that you love for the money you're worth, and then it talks about the real secret of how to turn the conversations, the networking conversations that you have, into actual positions and how to be relevant.
Do you hear those voices out there? The voices across the state of Arizona, and they're all saying the same thing. What does she know? What does she know? She's an attractive woman that makes a tremendous impression when she walks in, dresses great. She's an author and an executive and has her own firm. Oh, poor Molly.
Well, they should have seen me a couple years ago.
Well, let's talk about that.
Because I was out of work for 2 years and 3 days, and it was hard.
Geez.
It was really hard. And about a year into my job search, I realized I must be doing things completely wrong because I'm not getting offers, I'm not getting the interviews, I'm not having the conversations. I sat in front of the computer a lot and got very lonely and depressed because when you talk to the computer and send in an application, it doesn't respond all the time. It goes into that black hole. And about a year and a half into my search, I said something has to change. I changed it up completely. In 90 days, I had 60 meetings and 30 offers for positions never posted in an industry I had no experience.
Okay, say those numbers again, because I really want that to get across to that person who just took a break from the computer in order just simply to take a breath and watch the show, and then he's going to go back or she's going to go back to the computer to look for work. How many job offers did you get?
30 job offers in 90 days. It took me meeting with 60 people to get 30 offers, but the key was I got out there, I turned off the computer, and I got out there and networked. And I met.
What does that mean, though?
You know, I went to events. Phoenix has so many great events. I went to a combination of community events, of functional area events. My background was in marketing. I also went to finance events and legal events, industry events, people who deal with mergers and acquisitions. I'd hang out in those worlds because I really enjoyed it. I also went to job search networking events like Executives Network, and there's plenty of other job search networking events out there too, where I could meet people and get connections. And it wasn't usually the people that I met that would offer the job, but it was the people that I met, and through them I would get connected with other people who I could have the interesting conversations with and get offers.
Yeah, and you also say don't go to the job fair when it says show up.
Right, you know, break all the rules. So just because a job fair starts at 9 o'clock, you know, show up at 7:30, show up at 7 a.m., show up at 6 a.m., and go help them set up and go in the back, and that's when all the hiring managers are coming in, right? And they're all setting up their booths. Go in and help them out, and have a conversation side by side instead of across the table, and build that relationship. Because the reality is most job fairs, you know, they're hiring for a specific role, and you might not be a fit for that role, but the company might be really interesting to you. And so you want to build the relationship so that you can actually have a conversation with someone in that company to find the type of role that you would be relevant for.
Some of the mistakes that you list, some of the most unbelievable things that you've seen job seekers do. Now, did you just make these up?
No, I wish I made them up.
Assuming, here's something that happened that Molly has in the book. Assuming you'll only reach someone's voicemail.
Right. a lot of people call and think, well, I'm not going to actually get a live person anymore, and they're not prepared. You know, there's only two scenarios when you actually do make a call. They're going to answer or they're not going to. So you need to be prepared either way, and most people think that they're going to reach voicemail, so they're ready with their script of how I'm going to say that voicemail, and then a person comes on and they freeze up. They don't know what to do. And I remember when I was looking, I called on a Friday afternoon to a company, and I said, you know, is Chuck there? And Chuck was the president of the company, and Chuck answered the phone. And I said, wow, times must be really tough. You're the president and the receptionist. And he said, no, I let everyone go early. And I'm like, well, while I have you on the phone, let me ask you a few questions and introduce myself.
All right, now, you see, there are people also right now, I know, saying, is that too friendly? Is that too chummy?
Well, let me ask you this. You know, people, it's like sales. People buy from people they like. People want to work with people they like. And so if you can build a relationship and get people to like you, they want to help you. And if they don't have a position, maybe their network of friends, they have a position. You know that Verizon commercial where the guy has the big network behind him?
Yeah.
So everybody has a network behind them. And so while, Pat, you might not be hiring, I bet you know people in your network that might be hiring. And so my job in networking is to connect with you, build that relationship with you, and then maybe you'll open up the door to your network to potentially introduce me to a few people that might be hiring.
You list one of my, and we're going to be back with some of the other things not to do, and then some of the positive things that you can't. Do you have your pen ready, by the way? Are you making notes? Because if you're sitting at the computer and not watching this, then you're missing out on some good stuff. Typos, bad spelling. I hate that when somebody sends me an introductory letter and things are misspelled. It tells me that that person is kind of careless and I don't want them on the staff.
Right. You have to have attention to detail. And not only the typos, but people writing "Dear Sir" to, you know, I don't know if they're living in medieval times, but we're in the 2009.
Yeah, because it might just be "Dear Molly," huh?
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Hello.
And especially when you start with "Dear Ted McMahon." Yeah. This is Pat McMahon, and I don't want you to forget it, particularly the next couple of minutes, because we're coming back with Molly. Some very, very specific, concrete advice how you can, not wait till tomorrow, today, right after the program is over, and start that whole new quest for a job. Molly Wendell, when you got the 30 job offers after you had been out of work for 2 years and how many days?
3 days.
She remembers virtually to the hour, I'll bet.
I do.
What was the job you finally accepted?
You know, I went from, my background was running marketing departments for technology companies, and I decided to do something completely different. And I looked in Arizona to see what opportunities were there, and really at that time hospitality and commercial or real estate were the big things. And I decided that I didn't want to work in hospitality, so I went into commercial real estate. So, and here was the fascinating thing. So for months and pounding the pavement and mostly pressing the keyboard, pounding the keyboard on applying for things all over the country and getting rejected day after day after day after day. And then I started having conversations because I really didn't know much about the industry, and I had to go ask people, you know, what is it about this industry? Give me the lay of the land. What do you like? What do you not like? How are the people? What's interesting? And through those conversations, I was asking lots of smart questions, and that's really the key to people's job search, is asking the smart question. And if your listeners remember one thing today, it's ask smart questions. Be interesting by being interested.
Oh, excuse me just a second. I just heard an answer coming in from Avondale. I can't think of any smart questions. People continue to put up this barrier. They're not going to hire me because I'm shy, because I'm Hispanic, because I'm a woman, because I'm Jewish, because I don't have a degree. They're not going to hire me, and everybody has those they're not going to hire me.
Well, the reality is they are going to hire you, but the key is you have to find the company that you want to work for. Don't just be willing to work for any company that has a great holiday party, pays their people well, and, you know, treats the employees, has good picnics every so often. Go figure out the company you want to work for. Go target and do yourself a favor by figuring out what you want to do, who you want to work for. But the thing is, the smart questions in the book, that's the good news in the book, there's lots of places where I talk about the smart questions. I actually list, I think, about 15, 20, 25 smart questions to ask. And they're really just